You came up with one final mock draft?
I did, and I guess it dropped today.
Well, this is in advance of you and DJ hosting DJ's final mock draft tonight on NFL Network. And again, let me make sure I get this correct. That's tonight on NFL Network.
Yes.
And so let's review your work. And we actually have a drop. We've been doing this for multiple mock drafts. Yeah, we mock it like a hurricane. Check it out.
Mock, yeah!
It's time to mock you like a hurricane.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's our drop.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's put it up here, Charles. Cam Ward's number one overall. I am sure, and I know your previous mock drafts had Shador going number 2.
Yeah, I just flipped them in my first two mocks. I had Shador 1 to Tennessee in my first one. I had Cam number 1 in my second one. And this time it's going to be drastically different in terms of that. And I've already gotten a couple of calls from people who know way more than I do about this.
Yes.
Who have called me names that, thank goodness, my mother's not here to hear.
Well, you know what?
And they have really, really questioned my intellect in a big way. And I get it. I absolutely get it. And it's mainly about the quarterback position.
So this is amazing because I have not seen your mock draft until this very moment. Yeah. I did my Come At Me mock draft, which every single year I do it on the Wednesday. We have the same top 6. I think Pete's taking Jalen Walker. I think he's definitely taken Jalen Walker. Certainly if Ashley's off the board of Jacksonville, 1,000,000%. That just... Pete loves his edge rushers. He loves his pass rushers. He loves that NASCAR package, and it doesn't matter that you've already got Max Crosby and Christian.
You can't have enough.
You can't, and so I think he does do that. I think the Jets go and get Membu. You think it's Tyler Warren?
Yeah, I went there, and it's more of I hate to use the term gut feeling. I had a mentor, Bob Barrett, the Hammer, former FBI agent, used to say, you can't do gut feelings. He said, if you investigate with a gut feeling, you're just going to make all the evidence fit your gut. You're not really doing it right. Mm-hmm. So I don't use gut feeling. I'm just remembering last year, I thought the Jets might go tight end at 10.
I thought Brock Bowers was
right, and Brock Bowers was sitting there. Brock Bowers, we let the league let him go to 13, and now he's first team All-Pro. He was really wide receiver 1 for them. I'm wondering if a team like the Jets goes, we just got Justin, quarterback's best friend, especially young quarterback, is a tight end. Let's give it to him and let's go there. So let's just see. We'll find out.
And Membu goes to the Saints. Mykel Williams to the Bears.
And remember in those first 10, Shador Sanders is a possibility at 2, Cleveland, 3, the Giants, 9 for sure with New Orleans. But to me, the wild card is still, you're right about Pete, but the wild card is still Las Vegas. Because quarterback Geno, quarterback in waiting Shador. There's possibilities of it. I'm not saying he's going there, but if you see the spots where he could possibly go, he could easily still go in the top 10. I didn't put him there, but there's landing points for him, and we haven't even talked about people trading and moving yet.
Yeah, I know, and I
don't do trades in mine.
They're so tough
not that
to
good.
Figure that one out. I mean, DJ's the one who's just like, I think the Houston Texans are going to trade back up after they take.
DJ should wear an eye shade.
Right?
And have you, what are these things? Remember when he used to have the things tied up on your arms? DJ can wheel and deal, and he nailed all that.
When he nailed the Texans taking Stroud at 2 and then trading back up.
Called it.
3rd overall.
Called a shot. He Babe Ruth in 32 series.
And so let's check out some of the rest of your work. Charles Davis, moving onward. You like Shamar Stewart going to.
Went traits on that one much more than production.
You Tet McMillan as a Cowboy. You like that.
Yeah, I mean, that almost is central casting if they can't get Ashton Genty.
Okay, and Will Johnson obviously is a pick that I would see coming. Certainly, if Jalen Ramsey is going out the door, you put Will Johnson.
And there's also possibly safety there if you think about it for the Dolphins. Remember, Javon Holland is no longer there.
Nick Eamon-Wari would go to the Colts.
Yeah, Lou Anarumo would be ecstatic on that.
Derek Harmon, a defensive tackle, going to Atlanta. Jahad Campbell lasting all the way to 16. You think Malachi Starks? I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals jump and take him. Jesse Bates went to Atlanta a couple of years ago, and if you don't want to see him in purple,
No.
Everybody's putting Malachi Starks to the Ravens.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
You might as well have him help Joe Burrow by getting Joe Burrow back on the field rather than picking off Joe Burrow.
And Starks does play like a Raven. I mean, that's exactly he's the epitome of that. But I had him going to Cincinnati there, and there's a lot of talk about Cincinnati with their defensive front as well.
Jahdae Barron going to Seattle. That's
now you can just take Devin Witherspoon and make him your full-time nickel. You get Reek Woolen back on task. You got Barron outside, and off you go.
Ezraku for Boston College to Tampa, and then Omarion Hampton to Denver. Boy, I know Broncos fans would just lose their minds over that.
Fit, done.
Okay, so we haven't heard
kind of how it works.
We haven't heard Shador Sanders' name. Let's check out to see if you think he does land in Pittsburgh, and you don't. You think they go Kenneth Grant out of Michigan, and then Colston Loveland gets reunited with Jim.
Yeah, and
after that.
This is why it gets really dicey, because I don't do trades, and I would not be surprised at all if he doesn't go in the top 10. Shador, if any of those teams don't grab him there, the trade back into the first round is what I'm anticipating, and that's for him. And for the guy that I started this whole thing with a lot of caused a little bit of consternation, Jackson Dart.
So, yeah, I mean, we're looking at the rest of this.
I've got one quarterback.
Yeah, Matthew Golden to Houston, Ibuka to the Rams. We could just run down the list here, but you don't have Shador as a first rounder. You don't have Jackson Dart as a first rounder. Is that because you don't do trades?
I don't do trades because I'm anticipating them not going at the top where people are thinking. Would not surprise me at all for people to come back in. And I just did my annual Pound the Table article.
Sure. Okay.
Guys, I'll pound the table.
Go for it.
My first one off the list is Shador Sanders. Okay, I would pound the table for Shador Sanders. I think that he gets all the benefits of being a Sanders, and he's had that since he was born, which is great. But the vitriol and the other side that comes at him, I don't think people can actually fully grasp. There are so many people that have this antipathy, this. I'd love to see Deion fail.
He's heard that for 40 years.
He's heard it for 40 years, but now here comes his son. And his son is coming, and he's getting some of that as well. There are a lot of people who love to see him go in and not play well just because I don't like this and I don't like that. That's something that I don't know that people understand, because it's one thing to get benefits. Oh, well, he's getting everything. To have people kind of wall you off as well, that's a whole nother battle, and he's been fighting that one, and he's comfortable with it. He's dealt with it. That's why I pound the table for him, because I just don't think a kid like that is going to fail.
Well, he's
going to figure it out.
People have said that Shador walled them off in some of the interviews because that might be the Deion approach of like, where are you draft? Like, you're interested in drafting me? I'm not interested in you.
Low. I don't be, and maybe all of that is true. Also know that when people do that, come at you like that your entire life, you are also going to make sure you put up your own guardrails as well. Look, who am I to play Freud? All I know is he's a very talented football player. He plays the game from the pocket, maybe the best out of any of these quarterbacks that are in this draft. Our colleague Bucky Brooks, I think, does a fantastic job evaluating quarterbacks. And multiple times in the last 5 to 7 years, he's correctly forecast a quarterback that most of us had second, Bucky's had first, most recent being C.J. Stroud over Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a short-term, smaller sample, but so far C.J. Stroud's winning that battle.
I agree.
Bucky's nailed it on that. I'm trying to think of, I can't remember another one, but there's another one he had where he picked the other quarterback ahead of the one that was consensus. In this draft, his number one quarterback is Shador Sanders. So I always tell people, I'm listening to Bucky a lot of the time because he tends to get it right. He may not be in my first round, because, and believe me, I've heard about it already from different people. I don't do the trades. I'm anticipating these trade backs, and I'm anticipating the teams at the top, a Cleveland, a New York, a New Orleans, being factors in those trade backs into the first round. And I wouldn't be surprised to see, remember I said Dart at 3? Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, what is wrong with you? Are you crazy? If Dart goes to the Giants, I don't care what number, I had that feeling early. I just didn't stay with it.
Well, not third overall.
Not third over, but I didn't stay with it.
You got Abdul Carter,
overall.
man. I mean,
you're sitting there. You don't turn down the better players.
You put him with Brian Burns. You put him with Kayvon Thibodeau. You put him on that team. That's not a bad choice, man. And then you could trade back in and get Dart.
Oh,
then suddenly you're leaving Thursday night feeling much better.
Now you're off and running, and it seems to fit because I think Dart and Brian Daboll are a really nice fit. But Kellen Moore is going to need a quarterback in New Orleans. Cleveland obviously needs a quarterback. It'd be very interesting how it plays out.
Mm-hmm. Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.